If you would like more videos made on the Conor McGregor vs Dustin Poirier fight, then be sure to show this by smashing the like button.
I've been listening to laughter all my career. They've been laughing. What, an Irishman win a Cage Warriors world title? Hell no. You serious? An Irishman? An Irishman win a fight in the UFC? Hell no. Laughs all around. Laughter all around at the Joker. Then the Joker goes and wins the world title. Now he wants to win a second world title. More laughter. The sound of laughter and the sound of doubt motivates me. That's what's going to drive me to the gym when I need to go to the gym and to put in that work to get that win. So that's where we're at right now.
What do you think they'll say about you in 50 years?
You know, I'm not quite sure what they'll say about me. They'll probably just say I'm a young kid who showed up when he said he was going to show up. And that's it.
To truly appreciate where we are, we first have to start from the In this video, I would like to take a final look at the Conor McGregor vs Dustin Poirier fight, for which I will be doing my ultimate breakdown, and where I go over the tale of the tape, my own personal fighter cards, a full breakdown of the fights, and then at the end I will tell you who I will be picking come fight night. And so with that being said, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you are new, and let's jump right into the video. Starting with the tale of the tape, Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor are virtually identical in measurement. Where Conor McGregor has a 2-inch reach advantage, that remains the only difference between the two fighters. And also being the same age, this is where we can round up the tale of the tape and move over to my own personal fighter cards. Starting off with the champ, the notorious Conor McGregor, who has an overall rating of 91, with 96 striking, 86 grappling, 90 stamina, 93 chin, 87 defense, and a 94 physicality attribute. McGregor's standout attributes come with his striking and physicality, where he is always a superior striking and remaining on the front foot, backing his opponents up and cornering them, which helps him remain the more dominant fighter in the striking department. Now looking over to his opponent, the Diamond Dustin Poirier, he has an overall rating of 88 with 91 striking, 88 grappling, 91 stamina, 87 chin, 88 defense, and an 86 physicality attribute. Poirier's standout attributes are his striking and his stamina. Being a very well-rounded striker both offensively and defensively, he's able to pair that up with his tremendous 5-round cardio, which helps him to be able to complete a very well-balanced 5-round mixed martial arts fight, in which most scenarios when the fight got tough, he was able to bite down and remain the fighter who came out on top. When we are comparing the two cards, obviously Conor McGregor comes out with the better overall rating, where Conor McGregor tops Dustin Poirier in the striking and physicality department. Dustin Poirier is able to top Conor McGregor in the grappling and stamina department. And looking at those opposing qualities, I believe that it's fairly clear to where Dustin Poirier needs to be fighting at and to where Conor McGregor needs to be fighting at in order for them to win this fight. Now with that said, let us talk about the fight and move over to my breakdown part of this video. When it comes to a rematch at all times, the question becomes, how will it differ from the original first competition? With Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier, the situation immediately is different when they are both competing in a higher weight division. Also, adding on top, both of them are matured fighters and have gotten significantly older and more experienced since their first fight. Those two factors alone should indicate a much more different contest. Will the end result be different? That will be the real question that only time can tell. But before all of that even takes place, we have already significantly different fighters in Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. Let's start with Conor McGregor. Looking at how Conor McGregor has evolved his game from the first fight to his last fight, you can immediately tell that Conor has become a lot more sturdy on his feet, less bouncy, and a lot more clean and effective. Looking at Dustin Poirier, he has added a lot more effectiveness and efficiency to his all-around game, which helps him compete very good wherever the fight may go. He has shown that he has improved his leg kicking game. He has shown that he has improved his ability to cover range and pop shot. He has improved his defense and counterpunching abilities. He has improved his takedown ability. He has improved his submission attack game. And overall, Dustin Poirier's ability to be the fighter that he is, who has gained all of these fights and experiences inside the octagon, you can immediately tell that he knows what to do, where to do it, and how he is able to always seemingly get on top of it all for most of his contests. So Dustin Poirier has become a better version of what he was, and Conor McGregor has become more efficient and more powerful in what he likes to do. He has gotten rid of all the extra capoeira stuff and unnecessary bounce, especially at a higher weight division where he needs to be sufficient with his energy to land the big left hand and set up all the other shots that follow it. And aside from that, going into a fight with Floyd Mayweather and being in a boxing camp and improving on his boxing, I believe Conor McGregor, he was a great outside fighter and he still is, but his inside fighting game was one which we never really saw a lot of. And I believe this time around, at this stage of his career, Conor McGregor being bigger, stronger physically, and adding all those inside fighting skills, I believe that we will have a more complete Conor McGregor come fight night also. We won't be having the same Conor McGregor that we saw in the first fight with all of those flashy kicks, but I believe that we will see Conor McGregor throw kicks that are more simple and more efficient, like the teep kick, side kick to the leg, or spinning back kick to the body, things of that nature. Because in this matchup, it is very important for Conor McGregor to establish a long range, and a range where Dustin Poirier is unable to close a distance like it was in the first fight. Dustin is a great fighter. He can fight on the inside and outside. What he's not that good at is being quick. I don't believe that he's quick enough to beat Conor McGregor in a jabbing contest or a situation where they're both exchanging singular punches. He's able to beat Conor McGregor in a situation where the fight comes to a combination fight contest. That is where Dustin Poirier shines at. He's not a power puncher, he is a more accumulative power puncher. He doesn't knock you out with one punch, but he knocks you out with 5. So the difference immediately is there. With Conor McGregor, it is all about that one anticipation of that range. Will I close in right now or will I not? If you try and close in, Conor McGregor is able to most of the time see it coming, slip and counter. If the opponent is fast enough, like for example Khabib Nurmagomedov was, he's not going to have a good time to anticipate and react and counter accordingly. That is how he got dropped against Khabib. But Dustin Poirier is not as quick as Khabib Nurmagomedov. In my opinion, Khabib Nurmagomedov is the quickest, with his hands at least, in the lightweight division. He is blindingly fast with his singular hits, and I don't believe Khabib gets enough credit for that. So Dustin Poirier, if he wants to close in the range, it can't be a singular hit. It has to be a combination, a chain of punches that will set up the first initial closing of the range, and then the final punch that will connect when the range is according and is right. And if he happens to be unable to close the range with his boxing, he can rely on his leg kicking game to initiate at least some form of contact that will get him a bit more accustomed to the range. Mixing that up with a few takedown attempts and a few takedown threats, that can take away Conor McGregor's mind of coming forward and being offensive to perhaps minding also the defense side of things and kind of taking away the full offense of Conor McGregor, which can be very important in slowing down the tempo and the pace, which will help Dustin Poirier a lot. However, if the distance and the space and the tempo gets slowed down and closed up a little bit more, or perhaps even further extended the range, then the question becomes, if Conor McGregor is a better striker, at least at controlling the range and countering and being more precise and accurate and effective, then wouldn't it be a lot more preferable for Conor McGregor to fight a calmer fight and get his rounds in like he said he wanted to? Because if the situation happens to be coming down to the fact that the fight is at a slow tempo, like for example the Max Holloway versus Conor fight, or perhaps the Eddie Alvarez fight for that matter, then Conor McGregor will, in my opinion, be as fresh as he can be in the 5th round. I don't believe believe that at such a fight, Dustin Poirier can shine in the later rounds. So Dustin Poirier immediately has to set some sort of investment early on in the fight, whether it be trying to take down Conor McGregor, threatening the takedowns, faking it and then coming over the top with the right hand and connecting flush and frustrating Conor McGregor, or whether it be just taking Conor McGregor down flat, period, and then going in for submission attempts. These things have to be a big priority in my opinion for Dustin Poirier. The closer range the fight can get, the better it is for Dustin Poirier. The bigger the distance between the two fighters is, the harder it will be in my opinion for Dustin. And the real question becomes, who will be the ring general? Because the ring general will decide where the fight will take place. And with Dustin Poirier, in my opinion, his character is not that which really demands a lot of respect in that ring. And against Conor McGregor, who is such a dominant fighter, I believe he will come forward immediately and set the tone of the fight and become the ring general. And if Conor McGregor wants to come forward and back Dustin up, I believe he will do this. And I don't believe there is much Dustin can do to really have an answer for that. Dustin is not quick enough with his counterpunching. Dustin is not powerful enough, in my opinion, to demand respect and back Conor up. So it really has to come down for Dustin to know when to pick at Conor, change the levels, change the tempo of the fight, and change the position of where the fight is taking place at. Whether it be getting into the clinch and dragging Conor down against the fence, maybe. I believe Dustin Poirier has to fight a complete MMA fight, because if he doesn't, I believe Conor McGregor will use a lot of head kicks, spinning back kicks, side kicks to the knee, just regular leg kicks because they are both southpaw and their stances are crossed. Things of that nature, I believe Conor McGregor will implement a lot. And with Conor McGregor's power and his ability to set up the opponent a lot, I believe out of the two early on, Conor will be the more effective fighter. And I just can't help but think Dustin Poirier needs to do drastic investments early on in the fight. Otherwise, even in the later stages of the fight, I don't believe Dustin can win if the fight continues to be playing out like it does in the opening first round. Now, I'm talking about Dustin taking Conor down. However, I haven't talked about how good Conor McGregor is defensively as a grappler. In my opinion, both Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier are, when it comes to MMA grappling, in my opinion, they're both about the same level. Perhaps Dustin Poirier is a little bit more aggressive with his guillotine choke, but for the rest, I don't see Dustin Poirier having that big of an advantage even in the grappling department. I will go as far as to say that Conor McGregor has better takedown defense. And so the real question becomes, how will Dustin take Conor down? And I believe the best time for Conor McGregor to be taken down is when he overcommits on a shot, overextends, and has a unbalanced base. Like for example, Chad Mendes was able to shoot in when Conor McGregor overextended and take him down. I believe Dustin Poirier has to do the same thing. But then the reality of Chad Mendes being a better wrestler kicks in. Chad Mendes being a more explosive fighter sets in. Chad Mendes being a smaller fighter and being able to duck under the punches of Conor McGregor quicker sets in. So all of these attributes that Dustin Poirier needs, he doesn't really have. And so it really becomes a fight where Dustin has to be the fighter who wins in the buffer moments, because in the significant moments in the fight, I believe Conor McGregor will have the more cleaner work done. And so in those buffer moments, he has to make the most that he can. He has to stall the tempo, close the range as best as he can, and start to connect with pop shots that will frustrate Conor McGregor. And the more frustration kicks in, the more mistakes will happen, and that is exactly when Conor McGregor can be hit. And I believe Dustin Poirier can be the fighter that can do the hitting. However, I don't believe that he is quick enough to pull off all of that for a big portion of the fight. I think he can do it in bursts, but I don't believe that he can do it for the longevity of the fight. However, let us now move over to who I think will win come fight night. In my opinion, Conor McGregor will be able to knock out Dustin Poirier in the very first round. I believe that as soon as Conor McGregor is able to come forward and establish dominance and be the first fighter to initiate everything, because I believe Dustin Poirier has always been a pretty reactive fighter, and more so against Conor McGregor. Even in the press conferences and weigh-ins, you could always see that Conor McGregor was always the one initiating the first move, and Dustin was always just freezing or reacting to whatever Conor did. And I don't believe that in terms of character, Dustin Poirier has enough of that fire really to go after Conor McGregor, which he needs. Perhaps it is exactly what he does not need, and in the end, only time will tell what will truly happen. For this is only my pick for the fight. However, leave in the comment section down below who you think will win come fight night. I look forward to reading it. And as always, I have been Keenan from KKTV, signing off. Later.